joining me for another explainer video produced by the Lorators team from Assent. Today we're going to look a little bit at interested parties. You may have seen these if you've done anything to do with ISO or management systems. In fact, they became a requirement in all of the ISOs that were reviewed and republished in 2015. Let's look a bit more about what interested parties actually are. So, what is an interested party? Put simply, it's anybody who can actually be affected or can cause an effect to your organisation, or someone who can perceive themselves to be affected or have an effect on your organisation. Now, when I say someone, that doesn't actually necessarily have to be an individual. It can be an organisation, a stakeholder such as a parent company, or it can be categories such as neighbours and other organisations you work with, including suppliers and customers. So, in summary, anyone who can have any involvement or be affected by your organisation. So let's have a look at some categories next. Let's look at some categories of interested parties. At Assent, we've identified a number of categories that commonly come up when we're helping our clients implement their management systems. Allow me to share them with you now. Our first category is stakeholders. This can include shareholders, investors, parent companies, and partner companies. It's anyone who could have a vested interest in the success of your company. Our second category is customers. Now, this doesn't only include your direct customers. If you're using a third party or subcontractor to do some work that affects the end product that your customer receives, then their customers are your customers. Category 3, employees. This is exactly as it sounds, but don't forget to include all your employees, whether part-time, full-time, on maternity leave, anyone that is directly employed by your company. Category 4, suppliers. Again, pretty obvious, anyone who supplies any product or service or material to your organisation. We'll come on to suppliers and the specific requirements around them a little bit later on. Category 5, competitors. Now, this is one that people don't tend to think about, but competitors do have a great interest in your organisation, as I expect you do in theirs. Again, there are certain requirements around those competitors which we'll look at a little bit later on. Category 6, third parties. This includes visitors to your site, contractors and subcontractors you might use, and insurers of any policies you have to have. Category 7, external. Now, this can be easily confused with third parties just a minute ago, but external parties include members of the public, neighbours and other tenants in your building, and surprisingly, the media. Now, the media is often forgotten about, but don't forget they have a huge interest on what your company is doing, or more specifically, not doing. Category 8 is authorities. This includes the government, any regulators or trade bodies you may be part of, anyone that you have to go to for advice or membership. And finally, Category 9, the emergency services. Don't forget to include not only your emergency numbers such as police, ambulance and fire, but utilities too. Should you have a situation of emergency such as a flood or a fire, you must let your utilities company know, such as electricity, which may have to be cut off to the building to help contain a fire. So there's your 9 key interested parties categories. If you'd like to know more details about the kind of things you'll need to identify for your interested parties, such as requirements and information and methods of communication, please go ahead and find our other explainer videos. They're in our Knowledge Centre on digital